cloud. You're going to want to watch this one twice. Hello, everybody. Bobby Gray here with another edition of Miners Update. Can we hear me okay? Can I get a hand up? Can I get an amen? A lot of hands are in the air. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Put them down. All right. All right. Selling 1,400 people on this call. You send out one email and you double the size of your Zoom call. Well, do you think maybe you should send out regular emails alerting people of important information and upcoming events? Yeah, maybe someday. But here we are. Okay. We got a lot to get into tonight, and it's all good. It's all good. I started getting all these messages from people saying, tell me the bad news now. I'm going to be on a plane. I want to know what I'm walking into when I land. What's the deal? And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's all good news. I'm going to wear a hat, but rest assured it is good news. And I brought a couple hats so that if I need to like rotate and change the theme and the mood throughout the call, we can keep up with me. We'll know what hat we're wearing at the appropriate time. Robbie Rue, are you listening? Are you loud and clear? You're muted, but I see you out there.
I'm here.
All right.
I'm already working away at questions.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, first of all, again, thank you very much, everyone, for joining on this special edition of Tuesday Night Update with the Miners. Bobby Gray here, founder, fearless leader, the guy that gets stuff done. It's been a long week. It's been an interesting week, and there's a lot to talk about. But rest assured, like I said, it's all good. I've only good things to talk to you guys about here tonight. I do need your input on something, so there will be a vote. There will be a vote at some point, and it's an important vote. So I need you guys to take it seriously. I need you to stick around because it's going to help us decide the direction to go. Look, fearless leader, I got a lot of good ideas here. Sometimes I need some input. Sometimes I need some feedback. This will be one of those times. But to get started, this is not going to be a call like the other ones. Normally we do an update roundtable from across the factory floor. You get to hear from different people on different things. We're not going to do that tonight because I think we have too much to talk about, just you and me. And so maybe if we have time later, we'll circle back around to some of the normal things. I don't know who else is out there from our team that's tuned in. McKaylin's out there. McKaylin, I need to like regularly allow you to be a panelist here, so I don't have to add you every time. Paige is there. Paige, is that you? I think it's you. Kristen's on vacation, so we won't bother her. But here we are. Let's go. Okay, so what's the deal? What's with the alert, bro? Why did you go through the effort of sending out an email to talk about this call tonight? So let's get into it. I don't know if you noticed, but on Saturday, while a bunch of us were hanging out in Austin, Texas at the Capitol venue, I think we had 500, 600, 700, 800 people there, a lot more than we had tickets for. That went okay after all. I don't know if you remember or if you noticed, but on Saturday afternoon, just before our party began, we crossed over the $100 million milestone. And this is a really big deal. We've talked about it before. So, you know, it should not have come as like a surprise. But we crossed over the $100 million mark. And I want to just mention that this project is not small anymore. This is the reason why we're talking tonight. This is the reason why I sent out the email. This is the reason why we have 1,800 of you tuned in right now. And thank you for joining. But our project is not small, and we had a great time on Saturday. A lot of people. I mean, I can't really explain the energy and the enthusiasm, the kindness, the graciousness, the appreciation, the love that was being shared at that event. It was a really great time, and we're gonna have a lot more great times like that. A lot more great stuff is coming our way. But this project isn't small anymore. It's not a little twinkle in my eye as it was back in the early days. Oh, let's talk about this before we get into the heavy stuff. Let's talk about layer 2. We, on this call last week, discussed layer 2. And we discussed whether or not I should keep my big mouth shut and not mention the layer 2 possibility, or if I should bring it up and let you know that I was really close to having layer 2 done. And in fact, layer 2 is done. I'm actually going to show it to you right now because it's really awesome. And because we made it. And because it's never been done before. And because this is really going to pave the way for us into phase 2. Quite coincidental that layer 2 and phase 2 both have a 2 in the middle of it, but that's what comes next. And it's done. And it's accessible right now via the web wallet. Wallet.texitcoin.org is the web wallet. And if you go to wallet.texitcoin.org, I got to log in here. Hold on. Wrong password. Let's see if that's the right one. It is. If you go in here to wallet.texitcoin.org, and let's see if we can create like a brand new private browser so you can really see this thing from the ground up, because it's kind of cool. But browse yourself on over to wallet.texitcoin.org, and it will prompt you to create a new wallet. Well, technically, it'll prompt you to create a new profile. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy my password from my wallet. I'm going to put it in here twice. And I hit create, and then it brings me in. And then at this point, I am ready to create a new wallet. And watch up here to like the download section, because as soon as I click add wallet, it's going to prompt me to save a backup file. And this is really important. Let's call it incognito backup. It's really important because that incognito or that backup file that it creates is really a bunch of garbage. It's just a bunch of gibberish, right? So this is a really important file, because if you save this, and you can save it anywhere. You can save it to your desktop. You can save it to a cloud. You can save it to a USB. You can email it to yourself, but keep it in this original format, this text format. So like email this file to yourself. And if you have this backup file and your password, very, very, very important to remind you that this backup file is nothing without your actual password. So you got to save your password, and it's linked to your browser. So you save your backup file and remember your password, and then you're good to go. You can use the web wallet. Let me share my screen with you. And so here we are. We created it. We're in an incognito window, and there you go, right? So now we created one wallet. We've got an unnamed wallet here. We're actually working on giving you the ability to name these things. But down here, there's a little section that says tokens. And what I'm going to do to get us started here with the web wallet demo, which is very important, is I'm going to show you how to see your tokens. Eventually, we're going to talk about how to create tokens. That's on a future call, because I don't know how to do it just yet. But we do have some tokens created, and I'm going to send some over so you can see that it works. I'm going to scan this on the screen. I'm going to send 111, continue, confirm, and it's done. Okay. So I've now just sent 111 tokens to this address. This is my normal TexitCoin wallet address, but I don't see anything down here. So I got to go down here now to the token section, click the plus, and it's going to show me a token. This is very similar to how Ethereum works, where it'll give you like a list of known tokens, but there could be zillions of them that are like hidden. And so you might have to search for a token by ID or by name. But once you find the token that you're looking for, or you have a custom token that you're searching for, you can check the box and you can click next, and then you can import, right? And now it's showing you that we've got game over giveaway tokens. If I click on this, you can see that 111 tokens are pending on their way to that wallet. And it's just that fast. That's it. So how did I do that? Well, I've got the web wallet on my phone. So I go into my phone web wallet. I go into my unnamed wallet here, and I go see down the bottom that I've got 149,491 game over giveaway tokens. I click on that token, and it'll show me all my transactions that have happened with that token. I click the send button up top. I click the scan button, just like I'm sending a regular TexitCoin transaction. I click the scan button there. Maybe I can do it backwards. Again, click the scan button. That's me. I got to go to my incognito browser window. You can use a normal browser window. I hit the receive button. I scan it. I send in 222. I hit continue. I hit confirm. And now watch. Just this fast. Refresh, refresh, refresh. Please don't make a liar out of me. Refresh. There it is. In a couple seconds, there's the 222 that I just sent. Are we seeing my screen right now, or am I not sharing my screen? Oh, crap. I'm not sharing my screen. 2,100 people on the call. Hello, good evening. So it happens just that fast. And you can see that now I've got 222 and 111 for a total of 333. Once these go from pending to complete, then you'll see the balance updated there and you're good to go. That's it. We've been working a very long time on layer 2. It's the first little example, but at the Game Over giveaway party in Austin, I was hoping to demo that. It got done later in the day on Friday. By Saturday morning, we had already determined that we were going to be kind of like Fire Festival. If we weren't careful, we needed the simplest version of everything. Registration for the party or the check-in for the party opened at 5. By 4:30, we already had 100 people there banging down our door. Very few of them with actual tickets to get into the event. And our staff on site did an excellent job of crowd control, figuring things out, getting people in, and having a good time. But the layer 2, my friends, is done. And I'm very proud to announce that. I'm very happy. It took a long time, but it is in fact done. And it works. And we'll come up with more documentation very soon to show you exactly how to use it. But on that very same day, this is what we talked about. We talked about how we crossed over this $100 million threshold. And that's a really big thing because it means that our project has now moved on from where it began as a little twinkle in my eye to where we are today, now at more than $100 million value. And that's a very, very big number. And the bigger the number is, the more responsibility I have, the more weight the project has. Think about the evolution of the project. It started as a twinkle in my eye, sometime late 2023. And in January of 2024, I mined the first block of TexitCoin in my spare bedroom. A couple months go by. We've got garages full of ASICs out there chugging away, mining it, working on websites and all kinds of other stuff. By April of 2024, I felt good enough about the success or the likelihood of success for the project that I invited friends and family to give me money. And everything changed when this happened. Well, my daughter was first money in, so it's like, well, it's your daughter. Yeah, but within a couple of days, there was, some bigger money, $10, $15, $20,000. And the moment that you start accepting money for something, you go from idea to people have given you money, you now have responsibility. They've now taken a risk. They've placed their trust in you, and you can't change your mind at this point. You can't tell them JK. You can't shift. You can't pivot. All those entrepreneur words for, oops, the last idea that we had didn't work. Change of plans, plot twist. We're doing something totally different. As soon as you take somebody's money, you've made them a promise. You told them that you were going to do something specific. And the moment that you don't is when it becomes a fraud. And I told everyone from day one that my job was to pay commissions, build the mine, promote the coin. There's other stuff we do. We'll talk about it in a couple of minutes. But that was the responsibility. That was the burden that came onto my shoulders from the moment that I accepted money from somebody, whether it was my daughter or the guy that lives next door or the guy that I've been doing business with since 2009 or my friends or whatever it is. The moment that I take money from anybody is the moment that the clock starts ticking and it gets real. That's when it goes from, we're just trying this out, just an idea, just a little twinkle, to it's now real. And we've made a commitment. Money's changed hands, and now expectations are placed. Commitments need to be met, or all hell's going to break loose. And I want to remind you today that if you're on this call, there's a very good chance that you have taken that leap of faith. You've put money in. You handed it over. And now the responsibility is on my shoulders to be a good steward of that money. I want you to know today that our fates are now connected. They're intertwined. Our financial futures are tied together at this moment right now. If I win and you lose, I probably go to jail. That's a scam. Rug pull, pump and dump, exit scam. There are all kinds of different versions of the way things could go bad, as they have done almost every other time before. So, what are the chances that this is the one project that's going to work out? What are the chances that this is the one guy that's actually going to follow through? They're slim. I get it. I totally understand. But I want you to remember that our financial futures are now forever and inexplicably tied together permanently. I need you to win in this endeavor. Because if you win, then I win too. Now, reminder, Mr. Selfish over here, I'm going to win the most. And I want that to be the case. You want that to be the case. It's my idea. It's my money. It's my risk. You guys took a risk. I took the biggest risk of all. And yeah, if I'm right, I'm going to win the most. But you got to win too. Our futures are connected. If I do a good job and we follow through and we all do what we say we're going to do, we're going to win. We're winning already. The stories, the testimonials, guys, unbelievable. From everywhere, from every angle, from so many different places that I wouldn't stop doing this project even if there was an exit scam there for me because of how much abundance this project has created. I love it. I love every part of it. It's what I do day and night. I eat, sleep, dream this project. But I want you to remember that our futures are tied together. You have to win so that I can win. This is the only way that this works well. And I want you to remember that this thing isn't a corporation. These aren't shares. You're not buying little itty bitty pieces of me. What exactly are we? Well, we're kind of like a Litecoin clone, which was a spinoff of Bitcoin. We've got this great affiliate program that's got real simple comp plan that the industry has never seen or heard of before, never thought was possible. All these protections in place to make sure that the little guy, the guy that starts today, can make just as much money as the guy that started on April 4th of last year. We're building a mine. We're creating community currencies. What is this project? It's hard to say because it's so many different things. And not a single one of those things is bad, wrong, illegal, immoral, unethical. They're all good things. But when you mash them all up and you put them all together, you get this big question mark of what is it? And we're going to figure that out as this thing matures and gets bigger. But I want you to stop for a moment and just take a second to reflect on how big $100 million is. And I want you to stop and you remember that the weight of this $100 million is sitting on my shoulders. I've got a great team. We got 60 plus people here now. But the responsibility to perform and make good decisions for our mutual benefit is squarely on my shoulders, guys. And it's a lot of pressure. I'm not anywhere close to buckling. I'm having the time of my life right now. I'm not tired. I'm not burnt out. I'm having a blast. For every entrepreneur, what they want above all else isn't like riches and fame and fortune. It's to know that they were able to take the idea that existed in their mind, put it down on paper, put it into a working business, and then develop a profit. A profitable business is the entrepreneur's dream come true. They try and they try and they try and they try and they try. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they have near misses, sometimes they have little wins here and there. But ultimately for the entrepreneur, it's the evolution of an idea to a functioning, profitable business. We've got that 10,000 times more because not only has it worked well for me and my family, it's worked well for you and so many of your families. And that's the fuel that keeps me going. Just the knowledge that you guys are having a great time with this. And the little notes that I get from time to time, the little stories, the little videos, the little hugs that I get, the tears. They're the things that drive me. They're the things that make me eager to continue to accept more and more and more of this burden that's being placed on my shoulders, this responsibility to perform. And you guys are counting on me. You guys are counting on me to do a good job. Keep Bobby safe. Bobby ain't getting on the motorcycle. Skydiving? You out of your mind? Who's in charge over there? What are we doing? What's the backup plan? Bobby gets by a bus. We got a backup plan, right? The biggest challenge that any business will always face is survival after the founder departs, whether that's an untimely departure or a retirement. That's the biggest challenge that any business will ever face, surviving past the tenure of the founder. We have that challenge like every other business does. But you guys are counting on me to be a good steward of your trust. Your job is to watch my back, to hold me accountable. Keep your coins safe. Watch out for scams and frauds. They're out there, guys. They're finding us in record numbers now. Scary, scary stuff. Playtime is over. We've been saying that for a while now. You know, this was never a joke, but today it's serious. And you're counting on me to do a good job building the mine. We've got challenges there. Paying commissions, that's been going very well. Promoting our project. We're now live in every major U.S. airport save for New York City. LAX, Orlando, Miami, Dallas, Houston. You can't miss us now, even if you tried. We got a team, like I said, 60 plus people over here now. Multiple offices, multiple mining facilities, multiple pieces of land where we're building out stuff. Our overhead's big, very big now. It's come a very long way. And I also have to build out our liquidity. And it's not small time anymore. This money that's coming in, we all look at it and we high five and we congratulate each other and we get excited about it. Because guess what? It's exciting. We're one of the biggest raises ever in the history of crypto. You know, what exactly are we? We're crowdsourcing a mine. We're selling hash power. We're making one-time donations to this guy, Bobby Gray. You know, we'll have to figure that out in time as we really establish what the way that we describe ourselves is best. But the point is all this money coming in is very exciting and gives us a ton of fuel to accomplish our major goal, to follow through on those promises. And that's so critical. You know, the thing that we've got now is a profitable business. We've got a profitable business that's able to overcome small problems. Oh, the mine didn't work out. The ASICs blew up. We got hacked. You know, money's frozen somewhere. It's all good. We're able to handle it. We're able to deal with it, and it doesn't interfere with the success of our business. My job, my responsibility, that burden that's on my shoulders is to keep it that way. Through thick and thin, through account closes, through, delays of fund transfers, through peer payment, account receivables up $4, $5, $6 million. My job is for us to continue to push forward at record speed, regardless of the challenges that life or the universe or the man or the banking overlords or whatever throws our way. And we look at it and we applaud it, we cheer for it, we high five over it. And it's really, really great. Because that's what our whole thing was. Bringing in the cash, building the mine, paying commissions, promoting the coin, having liquidity, all that stuff. We need cash to do all that stuff, and we've got it. In fact, our pockets are very deep now. You know, we look at the chart on the website and we go, look at Bobby sitting fat and happy over there. He's sitting on $33 million of income. Guys, this doesn't take into account our retained earnings. And I was thinking about putting an additional thing here for retained earnings. That's money that we're using in the future for promotion. We're doing very well. Our project has gone very well. We've got momentum now. We're kind of past all of the challenges that could have popped up to trip us up, derail us. Are we too big to fail? Are we out of harm's way? No, let's not ever be arrogant. Let's always keep a an eye open for things that are going to throw themselves at us. Let's always stay prepared and vigilant. But we're doing really well. But I want to explain to you that this money is a liability. It feels like an asset. We want to celebrate it. But I was just looking at our Texas Trust account the other day. Now, this was right after Credit Union of Texas closed our account, which I've had there for 5 years. And they closed my account and they said, look, we know you're not doing anything wrong, but we just don't like it. It's too big for us. We need to close your account. They did. They gave me all my money. It's no problem. Went to pick up a cashier's check, took it over to Texas Trust, my last bank account. I deposited it. They put my cashier's check on hold for 2 weeks. And sure enough, last Friday, I went to log into the bank and the account's frozen. I was like, well, could have seen that coming. And you know what they said? It was the same thing. They said, you're not doing anything wrong, but it's just too big for us. We're a retail credit union. People cash their paychecks here. They got their bill pay. They're depositing. They're withdrawing. And I looked at $7 million frozen. And I said, man, I knew that was a liability. I knew I was supposed to do something with that. What do you do with it, though? What's the right move to stay ahead of the challenges, to be a good steward, and to make good decisions for the health of our financial futures? And where do you put it? What do you do? And I want to take a moment. I want to review our liquidity strategy because we've talked about this before. We published this article, The Path to 16. And, we've been ahead of schedule. Right now the market's at about 379. It's a little higher than that today because there's a lot of market activity. And it's very exciting to see that the market is continuing to flourish and grow without our direct involvement. If I go over and I log into DexTrade and show you what's going on there, you'll see exactly where I am in our market. Excuse me. I'm at 379. Dex-trade.com. And we'll pull it up here. Loading slowly. There we go. Let's log in. Why not? We're right here. Here's my password. Uncheck that box. It's going to want a code. I think it emails the code to me. Yes. Email me a code, DexTrade. Let's get this show on the road. Oops. 983-985. Here we go. We're logging in. So the path to 16 says that in October 2025, we'll be at $3.79, and we need $5 million of liquidity to support that. Let's take a quick browse through our liquidity. First $1 million in USDC. It's sitting there snuggled up, just waiting for a rainy day. Second $1 million of liquidity plugged into Bitcoin, also in a cold storage wallet. This one's down a little bit. The Bitcoin market's been all over the place, and this is important. We're at 975 now. It used to be at $1 million. Then it went up to 1,041,000. Now it's down to 975. Let's take a look at our Ethereum reserves. We're at 962, so Ethereum's down a little bit more than Bitcoin is. Fortunately for us, we've got 16 kilograms of gold bullion, and the gold bullion price today is $41.23. $41.23 times 32.15 troy ounces per kilo times 16 kilo is 2.12 million. So with this little basket that we've set up, we can look at the value and see that we're about even. We're probably up a little bit. With Ethereum and Bitcoin being down and the market price for gold being up. So let's take a look real quick at where we are on our wallet here in DexTrade, because DexTrade is the only market that we actually have to do manual market making. You can see we've got $210,000 locked in the market, and I could probably tell you exactly where it is, but let's go over here to our open orders so you can see it for yourself. We've got a buy order at 379, a buy order at 379, and a buy order at 379. This is for 158,000. I don't think that's right. Oh, we've got 44. Oh, this is TexitCoin. Okay, so 44,000 TexitCoin, 8,000 TexitCoin, 44,000 TexitCoin. That's about 92,000 TexitCoin that we've got in the buy order there at 379. Let's go over and take a look at actually where that puts us. We'll go back to our spot market, hit the exchange button, and you can see we've got $210,000 locked up right now. If you scroll down a little bit, there we are. There's our $210,145 locked up at 379. That's it. That's us. And like we talked about before, you can see kind of this yo-yo up and down, but the market is, kind of, I don't know what you'd call that. There's probably a term for that, where the market keeps bottoming out and is slowly kind of ending up down exactly where we want it to be. And what that means, as far as I'm concerned, is that all this activity here in the middle between when we went up to 379, which was about September 15th, and today is largely driven by third parties, not me, not us. And that's very exciting to see. It's our market maturing. And so we have a liquidity strategy, and that liquidity strategy right now has got $5 million locked up in it. And if you're curious about the nudge, as people call it now, where does it say nudge? We never push. There's a nudge in here somewhere. We only push the line. Nudge. Oh, there you go. We nudge. We nudge the market value in the direction we believe the community can support. Now, this is an interesting thing because I showed you guys the 5 million that we've got set aside. That's our rainy day liquidity fund. We haven't touched it. We haven't needed it at all from day one till now. And in addition to that 500, we got at least 210,000 sitting on Dextrade. And off the top of my head, I can't tell you what we have sitting on other exchanges. I don't know if we have enough time to log into these other ones while we're here, but we got a lot of cash sitting on a lot of exchanges. Now, every time we add a new exchange, we have to add liquidity on each one of those exchanges to support our market. So we got 50,000 here, 70,000 there, 100,000 there. Let's see if I can do this while we're on the call. Anyway, the point is that I think that the strategy is actually doing very well. We haven't had to test it at all. Our market's maturing. The volume is growing. The gap in the market buys and sells is getting smaller. And so by all evidence that I have access to, it seems to me like our strategy is good. What do we got over here in Bitmart? Remember, we got another, okay, so we got 129,000 here. 82,000 is available, which means we've got something like $40,000 locked up in orders. We buy off this market, and then we sell through the back office of the login, the back office. If you go down to TXC purchase, we have this address here, TORD. We've got 10,000 TexitCoin there, and then we withdraw from Bitmart over to that so that we can continue cycling it. So we buy on a public market at preset prices, and then we make it available in our back office. But we've got this path, and we're coming up on a point now where it's time to add the next $5 million of liquidity. And I really want to do it, guys. I really want to do it because that cash sitting in the bank is a liability. I know it sounds stupid. Everyone listening on this call is saying, send that cash to me, Bobby. I'd love to have $5 million just sitting in my bank account. But think about it. How many times have you guys seen Coinbase account freezes, Kraken account freezes, your banks are getting closed? We're talking about a massive amount of money. And we're trusting it right now to me and my team, this small community, to make good decisions. And so it feels awesome. I assure you, it feels really cool. But we need to continue pushing our project forward. We need to continue to make good decisions. We need to continue to be good stewards of that risk, that cash management. And so the reason I called you here is because I have an idea. And I want to run it by you. I've already talked with my Lone Star Rangers about it. That's Johnny, That's Tim. That's Rob. That's Eddie. That's Jay. That's Chris. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. We tried to have one more, but he didn't show up for our trip. He had some other business to attend. You know who you are. We wanted to bring you into our Lone Star Ranger group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it. I think that's my Lone Star Rangers. No, there's one more. Who am I forgetting? I feel so bad right now. Jay. How could I forget Jay? Jay, I'm so sorry. Those are my Lone Star Rangers. This is my inner circle. You guys send me messages on Telegram. Maybe I respond, maybe I don't. I'm very, very, very busy. I've got to establish, my chain of command. I've got Rob and Tim here in the office. I've got my Lone Star Rangers. We've got our Texit Rangers. And then we've got a great community of people that are crushing it. There are a lot of good people out there that have yet to kind of rise to those leadership levels. That doesn't mean we don't know about you. It doesn't mean we don't like you. It just means we're very busy and we're working on the protocol and the requirements and the expectations. The last thing we want to do is throw a title on you and then start smashing you with things you didn't know that would be required. And then, feel bad that you're not pulling your weight, and you probably already are. But anyway, we've got Lone Star Rangers. This is my inner circle. These are the guys that I go to when I have questions and ideas like this. But we got to find a place to stash the next 5K. And the crypto market is incredibly volatile. As you've seen with the two that we've chosen so far, we're down. Not a lot, 2.5%, 3%, 4%. But I've watched the crypto industry go from $20,000 Bitcoin in 2017 all the way down to $3,000 Bitcoin in 2018. And that's a big drop. That's a big drop. And I don't want to see that happen. And so I want to introduce for your consideration my idea. And if you like my idea, I'm going to ask you in a minute as to whether or not you think it's a good enough idea for it to be liquidity strategy number 5. And I hope you say yes, because my Lone Star Rangers like it. You guys have already demonstrated that you trust me enough to give me some cash. And again, I've got to lead the way here. But I want to tell you a quick story about my friend Brock Pierce. And as you may recall, I had an opportunity back a couple months ago to donate and speak at Ron Paul's 90th birthday barbecue. And the day before I did that, he and I met one-on-one in his office, and I showed him all about cold storage coins. And I asked for an audience with him so that I could have 30 minutes to convince him to become a big fan of cryptocurrency. And I said, well, Ron Paul's been around a long time. He's not a crypto guy. He's a gold and silver guy. I said, so was I. And I am still. I'm not done with gold and silver, but give me 30 minutes with him. And what it came down to in that conversation the day before the barbecue was I said, Ron, you're coming up on 90 years old, Dr. Paul, I call him. And I'm 45 years old. And I want you to imagine just for a second that it's as difficult to convince you at age 90 to care about cryptocurrency as it is for me to talk to a young person, 10, 15, 20 years old, to care about gold and silver. Here I am, age 45. I'm right there in the middle between these two opposing ends of the value spectrum. Gold and silver on one side, honest money, hard money, physical wealth that's been respected as money for thousands of years. We've got a long timeline of support for gold and silver as honest money. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we've got digital currency. And so it's obvious and natural that anybody that's been around this other world for as long as Ron Paul has would be very skeptical. And I get that. And I don't try to convince him or anybody in 30 minutes about what it took me 12 years to understand. And of course, today, that is my belief that cryptocurrency is the most honest money that planet Earth has ever seen. I don't know how much gold is out there. I know how much TexitCoin is. I don't know how much silver is, being circulated in the market today. I couldn't tell a fake silver coin from a real one just by looking at it. But I know I can't make a counterfeit TexitCoin or layer 2 token. And so I wanted to have an audience with him, and I think we had a great time having that conversation. But the very next day, I was able to share some time on a couch and at the venue with a guy named Brock Pierce. And this is Brock Pierce over here on the left side of my screen. I'm not sure if you can see that. But that's Brock Pierce, and this is our little table that we had right at the front of the Ron Paul barbecue. And Brock and I had some time one-on-one with our friend Dr. Paul, and Stephanie, who's really great, helped us organize our event this past weekend. Thank you, Stephanie. And we also had a little time on the couch together to pick each other's brains about emerging technologies and the future of crypto and regulatory oversight and interference in the crypto markets. Um, and I didn't get this from Brock Pierce, but I've always been extremely skeptical for a very long time about this thing called Tether. And I'm sure you've heard of Tether, USDT Tether. Tether is what is it? It is Tether is number 3 with today $182 billion market cap. I've always been extremely skeptical of the idea that somewhere on planet Earth there's $182 billion of ones and fives and tens and twenties and hundreds that are backing up the third largest cryptocurrency on planet Earth. I just can't believe it. It's hard enough to keep $1 billion, under wraps, let alone $100 million or $1 million. But $182 billion in bank accounts, no one's ever seen it. There's never been an audit. So I did some digging. How does Tether keep $182 billion of value safe? So you look into Tether here and you find out as you scroll down that it was started by a guy named Brock Pierce, co-founder. The same guy that I shared a couch with interviewing at the Ron Paul barbecue, the same guy I've got a meeting with next month. And imagine my surprise. Oh, sorry, I didn't share that screen there. There's the wiki file for Tether, cryptocurrency, USDT. You guys want to hear something fun real quick? I'll tell you something fun. You've heard all this drama recently about gold price going bonkers. Do you know who let me ask you this question. And if you already were told the answer by me for 100 TexitCoin, who's the number one buyer of gold in the last, let's say, 2-3 weeks? Go ahead. Get it in there. Number one buyer of gold. Central banks, BlackRock. No. China, no. Who's got it? Rob, see if you can find out who's
I'm
got it.
gonna have to clear all these out.
Central banks, Diamond, China, U.S. government, Bobby Gray. Trump,
Oh,
China, Buffett. You guys don't know. Me,
John
it's
might
not
have
you,
it.
Jose. Michael, Tether. John Varner for the win. Message
Good
me
job,
on
John.
message one of us on Telegram, a wallet address, or we'll track it down. John Varner, 100 TXC to John Varner. Tether. Imagine that. I had no idea that Tether back in 2020 came up with Tether Gold. Tether Gold right now is the largest buyer of gold. And this is really amazing because we're seeing these two worlds, these digital and physical worlds, really come together right now. People are saying, we love gold, price is going wild. We trust Tether. Tether's done a good job of maintaining our market and keeping our cash safe. This, $182 billion of it. We don't know how, but they haven't messed it up. And now all of a sudden, Tether's buying gold, biggest buyer of gold in the last couple of weeks, storing it in vaults in Singapore. I'm sorry, not Singapore, in Switzerland. I think there's a website out there for this somewhere. Tether Gold. Tether Gold. Tether Gold. The world's leading gold token. Who would have thought they now have $1 billion of gold sitting in a Swiss vault? And they're trusted. How did they do it? Well, this is what I'd like to talk to you about today, because I am going to borrow, with your permission, a page from their playbook. And if you guys are okay with it, then we are going to add that in as our next liquidity, and we're going to nudge. And I want to share that with you tonight, what my strategy is. I've already talked about it with my Lone Star Rangers. I think we've talked a little bit with the Rangers, but tonight I want to bring it to you. I'm going to do a poll here in a question, or poll here in a moment. Let me get my question set up. Give it a choice number one. Hold on. Link to. Okay, I think that's it. Save. Save as webinar poll. Did it work? Edit it. Why doesn't it give it? So I would like to propose for your consideration that we take a page out of Tether's playbook. And Tether, what they did to keep all their values safe, maybe not all of it. In fact, I'm sure it's not all of it. But what they did is they decided to put the majority of their holdings into, drumroll, real estate. And I would like us to consider that as our next tranche strategy, because we've already seen volatility out of gold and silver. We've already seen volatility out of crypto. And the goal with Tether was to find an asset that was bolted down to the ground, that was in general going to hold its value or appreciate in value over time. And what they did was they set up lines of credit against the properties that they needed if they actually needed any of that liquidity. I bet they never needed more than 10%. But I would like to borrow a page from that playbook. We've already acquired a couple properties. We've already acquired Biz Park. This is where we do all of our shipping and fulfillment. We've already acquired land in Victoria. This is where the mine's built. We've already acquired property now in McKinney. That's our headquarters. We've already acquired property in Galveston, which we use as kind of an executive retreat and a launch point for meetings, and Houston City Development. So we've already acquired the properties. And if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to bring the receipts back to you as I always do. I'm going to show you which properties we acquired. I'm going to show you appraised values on there. I'm going to show you receipts for wire transfers that we've used to pay for that. And if you guys like me, and if you guys trust me, and you believe that I will liquidate or borrow against those properties, if and when necessary, to continue to provide liquidity to support our market, we're going to move forward with those properties, at least as tranche number 5. And that's the question that I would like you to consider on tonight's call. Do you think that's a good idea? I'm going to launch the question now. Are you okay with us putting tranche number 5 into our real estate holdings? That's the best idea I got. Like I said, guys, looking at the bank account, I see that cash sitting around as liability. You can't keep $100 million of cash under wraps for long. You keep it somewhere physical, the rats eat it, somebody looks to steal it. You keep it somewhere like a bank, somebody comes along and goes, oop, that's mine now. We got to find a way to keep it bolted down to the ground. We got to find a way to keep it somewhere that it's going to generally hold its value. Think about it. If we put all this cash into USDC or USDT and the dollar tanks, now what? Now we have the same risk with real estate. So we got to continue to make good decisions. We have to continue to get great deals on these things. But I got to be honest with you guys, the burden of this responsibility that's on my shoulders to make good decisions with this cash, it's a lot. And this is the best thing that I've come up with. Again, taking a page out of the playbook of other guys that are managing $182 billion. And if you guys are okay with it, and at this moment right now, 95% of you are. It's 990 people out of 1,075. If you guys are okay with it, I'm coming back with receipts. I'll show you which properties we acquire. I'll show you the payments receipts, and I'll show you the deeds for every single one of them. Now, there's an interesting little sidebar here on the end of this. I'm putting all the properties in my name. There's a really important reason for that. You guys are going to go, oh, Bobby's just getting rich and rich and richer. The reason I'm putting them in my name is because if we do what the other guys do, Okay, we're going to take it. We're going to set up an LLC. LLC is owned by the Wyoming LLC, which is owned by the offshore trust, and do. This is when we start getting into questions of money laundering. If I take this cash that's in my name and I buy property and I put it in my name, it's all right there. We're not hiding anything. We've got nothing to hide. We put it in a place where everyone can look at it and go, yeah, that's our liquidity. And my promise to you is I'll continue to be a good steward of the cash that comes in. We'll look for great deals on these properties. I got a couple other really exciting things brewing that check a lot of boxes for us as well. And I'll bring the receipts and I'll show you that we've got nothing to hide. Show you what we pay, how much we pay, who it's paid to, the whole thing, as we've done from day one with this project. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to get your final answers in there, but I'm looking at it right now. So far, we're up to 1,360 people have responded to the poll. 94% say, you got this, Bobby. Keep up the great work. The other 6%, are you out of your mind? Stick to Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, USDT, and gold. And I appreciate that. I feel like I've come back to you guys with news, good and bad. I feel like one of the things that resonates with everyone across the board is the transparency that's built into this project. And every once in a while, we'll get to a point where I need your input. You know, we're in this together. I value your input. We sent an email out to everybody today and asked them to be a part of this call to discuss financial matters. And I want you to know that I take that stuff seriously, incredibly seriously. And I'm excited about the strategy because I think we've got some really great deals. I think the McKinney in this area, the North Dallas or the Dallas area, North Texas, is really becoming a financial hub. And I think that we're going to continue to see this region skyrocket in growth and appreciation. I'm a little scared right now about the price of silver and gold and, the value of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think they're very high right now. If those markets cool off, that could spell trouble for our liquidity. And so I'd like to continue fleshing out this basket and making good decisions. And if I get to the point where I'm uncomfortable or I think that I'm in a place where I need to ask for your input, I'll come back to you guys here. I'll put the information, the evidence out there as I see it, and I'll ask you guys to participate in helping me find the way. And that's it. 93% of you have said, you got this, Bobby. Keep up the great work. 7% have said, are you out of your mind? And I will take that feedback seriously. I know that there's lots of questions and some criticism right now. We're going to deal with that in just a second. But I feel like at this point, my major thing that I wanted to cover tonight is now complete. And I'm very happy. Thank you guys very much for the trust. Thank you for the confidence. Like I said, I'm not doing it with a blank check. I'm doing it with the ability to come back and give you guys the receipts. But the payments were made today to pay off all these properties. We own them all outright in cash now. And if you guys said no, then I would take them personally. They would just fall off the radar and they would not become part of our liquidity. But you guys said yes. And so they become part of our liquidity, which means that they're there to back up our market. And like I said, my commitment to you, my promise to you is that these will be used as our liquidity if necessary, when necessary, either to borrow against them or to liquidate them, whatever is necessary for us to continue to have a successful market. We haven't had to touch any of the liquidity. And so as we look at our liquidity, if we ever needed to touch it, we've got low-hanging fruit, USDC. Then we got Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then we've got gold. All the way at the bottom, we've got property. So now half of our liquidity is locked in to real estate, some of it commercial, some of it private residential. And that creates a really great hierarchy for our liquidity requirements. And do you guys know what happens next? What happens next? Someone's going to say it. The nudge. The nudge. The nudge happens. I want to talk about the nudge real quick because this is a really important part of our liquidity, or sorry, of our market growth strategy. A lot of people have been saying, well, what happened? Market's dead. Sales are down. Growth is slowed. Well, let's think about the last couple of weeks. Number one, we had a huge promotion that ended in September. Number two, we stopped accepting ACH. Now, that was done through a third party, but we called time out on that. It may come back, probably not. I hope not. Well, we said no. We've made it just about as difficult as possible. We killed most of the peer payments. So we've done about everything we could to make it difficult or impossible for us to actually onboard people. We've said, look, we got to go crypto, guys. With crypto, I sleep great at night. When money's sitting stuck in different accounts, I go, oh man, we got to work this out. Crypto. We're a crypto project. We're going full crypto. And so peer payments, ACH went away. A lot of complaints about that across the board. And I feel you guys. I feel it. I feel it. I know it's a challenge, but we got to keep working through it. We got to stay strong. We got to keep pushing in this direction that we know that we have to go, because the other side is beautiful. I've been on the other side. I've seen it. It's great. It's unstoppable money. It's the most important thing about what we're doing. Money that works anywhere, ever. The world's most important, honest money. That's what we got. We got to get there. On-ramping, off-ramping. These are all challenges. I get it. I get them all. I understand. So we went really far out of our way to make things about as difficult as we could have made them now. And we've seen the consequences of that. Further, the price jumped. I mean, if you take this chart and you lay it on top of our price chart, it's the same chart. it's basically the same thing. And so, you know, I get it. I've encouraged you to avoid it. I've encouraged you to think outside of the price of TexitCoin on the open market. I know it's hard. I get it. But I know that a lot of you notice that your sales, your ability to onboard people is always better as the price increases. And so the growth slows a little bit and tapers off as that price goes down. So we need that price to continue to move in the right direction. Now, we can only move the price in the right direction if our community growth creates the liquidity that's required to support it based on my chart. At some point, someday, we may go back to this chart and say, Bobby, it's clear that you've overestimated. If we've got $5 million and we've touched zero of it, and the market is right now at $4.17, it's clear that you've overestimated the amount of liquidity that's required to support the price. That's a fair thing to say. It's a fair thing to say, but I made the chart. This is the plan. This is the plan that we talked about. This is the plan that people should be telling you about to bring you in. Bobby's got a plan. We're going to follow the plan, which means we won't go up to the next level. We won't do the next nudge until we have the liquidity in hand, provably in hand. Full disclosure, receipts and all. We won't do the next nudge until we have the next liquidity. With your permission, and I'll double check the poll to make sure things haven't drastically changed from 93. With your permission, we will add now $5 million of real estate as our next tranche. And we will do the next nudge. And the next nudge takes us to the next wave. And I fully expect the next wave to come along with really great upward trend in growth. And we need the growth. Which one comes first, the price or the growth? They follow each other. Sometimes one leads, sometimes the other leads. We're now down to less than 10,000 miners before we have our next comp plan change. That's going to be another accelerant. When people say, geez, I better get my next 9,000 people in quick, the comp plan is going to change and BOGO goes away for 50,001 and more. Anybody that joins at 50001 falls under the next comp plan rule. Now, that's an interesting thing because normally we set a date as to when the change is going to happen. Now we set a number. When we set the date, we're like, my friend signed up, but you didn't get him entered until 2 days later. Is he going to go? Yeah, we'll take care of it. Now, 50001 and greater no longer will have the ability to choose BOGO as a commission payout option. They can take their commission in hash power. Remember, that's the only way to get above that 9-seat limit. They got to earn it. But that goes away. So I'm sure that that's going to drive our growth as well. But guys, we're getting down to crunch time. We're coming up on the end of the playbook. You know, by the end of 2025, we got to have $25 million safe and sound. We got to support $7.45. We'll be almost at $500 million value. And so these numbers, they only grow by 45% per month. There's no magic here. It's 45%. You take 3.79 and you multiply it by 1.45, and guess what? You get 549. Oh, wait, maybe it's a little less than 45%. Hold on. 5.29 divided by 3.79. It's 40%. So we need to continue growing by 40%. It means that everything that we've been working on needs to work. Automation, we need to scale. Banking, money, finance, we need to get really, really good at this stuff. We've become pretty good, guys. And now we're ready to really hit the gas and soar all the way up, fill that millionth seat, fire up the engines, and go. We have so many things to announce. Oh, we have so many things to announce, so many deals, big deals, major deals that are becoming accessible to us because of what we've done. Now, this is good and bad. We're big now, which means everyone knows about us. State regulators, federal regulators, competitors. There's no hiding anymore, guys. This is when it gets real. It gets exciting. The big jumps are about ready to get even bigger. So buckle up. Keep your coins safe. Be careful out there. There's a scam around every corner, guys. I do not want to see us all work so hard and you lose because you made a mistake with your private key. Watch my back. Hold me accountable. We got this. But the end is in sight. I can see the finish line from where we are today. And we keep making good decisions. I continue to be a good steward of your trust. We make good decisions with our money. And we got this. We'll take a victory lap soon. It's not time yet. We still have work to do. Remember, this is the hard work part. This is the part in the middle where we got to fill those seats. People are going to yell and scream about what happened to the mine today. Where's the coin payout? What's with that drop? Let's talk about that real quick. You know, we were all excited the other day because we brought the new mine online. We got the new mine lit up in Mansfield. We're days away, guys, from getting the mine going now in Victoria. But the hash power jumped and then it dropped. Well, what happened? How's this one? AWS went down. The whole internet runs on AWS. Amazon Web Services. Amazon is the biggest provider of data services to everybody. And when Amazon goes down, oh man, the internet goes down. Zelle wasn't working yesterday. Whole bunch of stuff was offline 2 days ago. One of the things that was offline was our mining pool. And that sucks because don't we have redundancy? Look, the mine still worked. It was just one of our pools was down. So the backup pool was working. Well, when the mine goes down and the network difficulty is up here, and you can see this here real quick. I'll show you what it looks like. We can go to the Block Explorer. You go to the Block Explorer and you can see the difficulty. So when the difficulty jumps, then the mine has a hard time keeping up. And so if our mining hash power all of a sudden drops like it did the other day because the internet went down, then all of a sudden the difficulty is greater than our mining capacity. And when that happens, it takes a long time for a block to come out. Doesn't mean we're down. It just means that something went wrong and we're not able to create a block in a timely manner. That starts to go away as we get more redundancy. So we got two mines, the B24 and the B48. So the B48 went down. The big one was offline because Amazon went down. So that meant the B24 is holding the network up. Well, the B24 has got half the power of the B48, and so it's not able to make blocks as quickly. So what happens is when the block times out, it says, how about a million difficulty? No. How about 800,000, 600,000, 400,000? When it finally gets down to a place where the network is comfortable, then the blocks start coming out more quickly again. And so that's the challenge that we had the other day. The result was terrible. The result was a drastic decrease in the mining output for that day. Huge decrease. Well, when am I going to get my missing coins? There aren't any missing coins. The mine didn't find any of those coins because it was running slowly. Well, that's preposterous. Look, guys, we all share the risks and the rewards. So we all proportionally got a very much smaller payout that day because the mine didn't find as many blocks. And that's a difficult concept to wrestle with. I know that it's technologically confusing, but the miners are working, they're trying to find these blocks. If the network power drops suddenly because we don't have enough redundancy, the mine's not down, the system's not over. It just means we're going to find fewer coins that day. And so as we add more redundancy, that problem becomes less and less. But imagine when we turn on Victoria, we flip that switch and we have 200 ASICs now churning away. We've got the B48 and the B72, sorry, the B24 and the B48. And so if we say, okay, we got a B24 and a B48. So 24 plus 48 equals 72. 72 over 272. So the B24 and 48 combined are only about a quarter as powerful as the total network power. So if the BC100, the container in Victoria, goes down, we lose almost 75% of our power. So you can imagine that we're going to have the same kind of problem on that day. Okay, well, what happens when we have 2 containers set up or 3 containers set up? As you have more and more and more infrastructure set up, you can lose one of them. One of them can be offline for scheduled maintenance, and it has a smaller and smaller and smaller effect on the network's capacity. And so that's a really important concept. Really important concept that we need to build this network out to get it to the point where it's able to handle mission critical applications. It's one of the reasons why we haven't made a big deal about layer 2 yet. Phase 2 becomes important for network reliability. As you saw, the transactions go through right away on the tokens, but it's really important for the network to be stable so that if a container goes down, an internet connection, a weather event happens somewhere, we've got 34 other ones there to back it up, to continue churning out the coins. And so that's what we're going to be continually wrestling with as we learn more, as we put more machines online. We're moving in the right direction. That's very exciting, but we are continuing to learn as we go. And so thanks for being patient with us. Again, sometimes these things are our fault. Sometimes they're out of our control, but we'll always bring the information back to you guys. Another thing that's happening, if you saw the Telegram group yesterday, maybe it was today, I don't remember. I bought 3 weeks worth of miners. The mining hardware comes from China. That's where it's all manufactured. Nobody domestically makes it. We're doing great with our vendor. They're very happy with us. And they're big supporters of TexitCoin. They want to accept TexitCoin for payment. We don't want to use TexitCoin as a payment, but they've offered it. Anyway, now we've got a new round of tariffs that's coming down the pike on November 1st. So we bought 3 weeks of miners to try to get ahead of whatever that changes. Because if you've got a shipment that's in transit, you've already paid the fees, and then boom, something changes at the border, you got to pay the fees again. So this environment, this landscape is constantly changing. We're constantly wrestling with it. We're constantly dealing with information. And as we deal with that, we bring it to you, the good, the bad, all of it, so that we can keep making good decisions together. We're in this together. As I mentioned, our futures are tied together. I have to win. You have to win too. It does not work if we do not both win. I feel the weight. I feel the responsibility. I'm rising to the occasion every day. I will continue to do that. It's exciting for me, guys. I love it. I love every part of it. But I understand the importance of making good decisions. I understand the importance of being transparent. I hear again and again and again that that's one of the most important facets of this project that has allowed us to do the impossible so far and continue to do the impossible week in, week out. I'm proud of us. I'm very proud of the work that we've done together, and I'm very eager to see it continue growing and contributing to our very bright future. That's it for tonight's call. That's all I wanted to talk about. That's what the big urgent email was that went out. Cassidy's doing a great job getting better emails set up. So expect to hear more from us, and you can turn us off with a little checkbox or unsubscribe if you want. But that's what we do. We bring information to you, and we talk about it, and then we record it, and then you get to share this with everybody. Put it on YouTube. Let the whole world know that we've got a strategy. Let the whole world know that we struggle with stuff. We're just a bunch of individuals doing something extraordinary. And for that, we should all be very proud and I'm very impressed by what we've put together so far. We've gotten zero in the way of pushback from anybody. We've got more and more people coming to us with arms wide open saying, send some of your economic wellness to our town. Invest in our city. Come speak at our event. Be the keynote sponsor at this thing. I can't even tell you what's on deck. I want to have these things signed and paid before I bring them back to you guys because there's exciting stuff. And I think that you'll be very impressed and very proud as well. Okay, we're going to do a lightning round through the questions as we normally do. Robbie Roo, what's it look like out there? Is it mayhem?
Oh my gosh.
Tell
I've
me.
I've been clearing them out, but we still have 300 questions. So do your
Oh,
thing,
okay.
man.
So let's talk about the car thing, right? We gave away a bunch of cars on Saturday. Congratulations to all the people that are now cruising around. We had a track day. What was it on Monday morning or Sunday morning? I don't remember. It's Monday morning.
Monday morning. Yeah,
We
that was
called our friend over at G2. We said, "Hey man, we need some track time. It's urgent." We got the Lambo, the M5, the Z06, the 911 GTS. What else do we have out there? The R8s were out there. We said we need to show these guys what their cars can do. You will not be surprised to find out that your fearless leader here set the fastest track time in the Z06, 2 minutes, 24 seconds around the circuit at G2 Motorsports. A lot of news is coming for that. Oh boy. But I said on Saturday night that I've got 7 more cars to give away, and I do. But I also discovered that the way that we did the last one might not have been great because maybe you don't want a Z06. Maybe you want like a nice minivan. You know, nothing wrong with a high-end $70,000 minivan, right? So with the 7, I was hoping we're gonna have enough time to pick them tonight, guys. We're gonna defer that to next week because I don't want to rush through it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna say, hey, you won. Would you like some cash? And you can go get your car wrapped and we'll pay for it. Or would you like us to find a car? Would you like to find a car? Here's your budget. That way you get exactly what you want. That's the way we're going to do it. We'll do it next week, guys. Sorry we didn't get to it tonight. We're rushing through things. We're not doing a great job of the things we rush. We got to pause that for a second. Some people have said, hey, can you stop talking about cars and get back to work? Where's the nudge, bro? So hang out with me till next week, and we're going to get into the 7 cars. Maybe we'll do it before then and then just announce it on next week, unless you guys want to do it live. Live or preview. What do you think? Live. Do it live. Live, they say. Live. Okay, we'll do it live. All right. Live. Got it. Question: is it too early to speak to mayors about using Texas and alternative currency? Yes. Remember, downtown digital dollars is the way that we want to introduce ourselves to small towns. We want to take Texit, that word's got a little bit of, a stigma around it. So we want to take that out of the equation. We want to talk to the towns about what they care about. I was walking through downtown McKinney the other night. There's a big sign that says spend local, shop local. They care about economic benefit. Community currency is the tool that makes it a promise. Community currencies are going to work great. They already work great. You'll see how great it works. But we're going to build a community currency for a town on the TXC blockchain. That's the Made in America, built in Texas blockchain. We want to take that Texit thing a little bit out as we talk to the municipalities. So hang tight. The layer 2 is done. We'll get it updated in the app. You'll see it very soon. One potential miner asked me, why is the source code closed and not an open source? Yeah, so we just opened up the source code. It's on GitHub right now, and we'll make that link available to you guys soon. And are there only 2 nodes that verify and audit transactions? No, we've got quite a few nodes. Nodes are permission. You can't run a node unless you have a key. The keys are authorized by us individually. We do that to make sure that nobody jumps onto the network with the desire to take our mining coins. Guys, we've had a lot of hack attempts recently. A lot. Are there any plans to use UPS and mining sites? No, we are using multiple mining sites as our redundancy strategy. If you get to 3 containers, will you increase mining output from 100,000? Yes. 3 containers will take us up. Remember, 200 ASICs, they run at 16,500 times 3 would put us almost at 10 million just with that. We're already at 1 million now, so we'd be at almost 11 million. And we do have the next 2 sites picked out for those containers. Mark says, when will you have an app process to pay for new miners via bank wire? We're not doing bank wires anymore. We got to find a way around it, Mark. There are lots of on-ramps out there. Evaluate them, share them with our community. Why is coin mining dropping when the coin value is down 40% from highs? Coin mining and coin value are totally unrelated. We talked about that a little bit. Hopefully you guys can make sense of that. What is the advantage to new miners since we are only getting under one coin mined daily at this point? Read the last seat on the rocket ship article, and that'll describe to you in full detail why, even if there's no more affiliate rewards program coming, you still want to have a mining seat. The biggest answer to that question, education, at $16, less than a tenth of a coin a day is not very impressive, but at $800, it's very impressive. And so that's what the mine does. It's generational wealth. For the people now, it's also a commission if you like the idea of participating in that kind of thing. Please update us, me, on the payout groups and differences because I'm seeing points disappear without commissions. Is there any documentation explaining the differences? Yeah. So real quick, Michael, it goes like this. Group one was Founders Club. They got 500 mega hash. How about them apples? Group two was early adopters. Same thing, 100 mega hash. Group three is what we call the launchies. And with group three, we introduced something called cash potential. With group four, the Rocketeers, we changed cash potential to commission potential. With group five, we're going to keep everything the same, but they're not going to have access to BOGO. So if they get the three left, three right, and they want to take that as hash power, they'll get 100 mega hash. Okay, so the answer to your question, however, is why do points disappear? If you have 3 points left, 3 points right, but you didn't sponsor anyone, then those points are going to flush out and not give you anything because you don't have cash potential. So if you sponsor one person and then you get 3 points left, we don't know how, 3 points right, we don't know how, you would be eligible for a $1,000 commission, but because you sponsored one person, you would be able to take that commission as hash or cash. So if you haven't sponsored anyone, you got no cash potential. And what that does is it closes this little loophole where some people get creative and they put grandma over here and they build out under grandma, and grandma never sponsored anyone. Grandma doesn't know anything about crypto. Grandma doesn't want to know anything about crypto, but there's grandma every week getting 600 mega hash for free. We have to stop that because we're giving away too much hash power, and we have to be careful about not bringing in enough cash. What's the story behind the gold ring you got? Great question. Oh boy, what do you get for the guy who's got everything? This. The answer to that question is a gold TexitCoin ring. Maybe you guys remember the story of my TexitCoin ring, where my friend Chris and the team over at Bex, Andrea and Tom, made me a really cool silver ring out of a TexitCoin 1 ounce silver round. Thank you. I put it on at Christmas and I took off my wedding ring because my wife told me that I could work exclusively on TexitCoin for a year, 1 year. That was 10 and a half months ago. Well, this past weekend, I went to the Locktoberfest event with my friend Davy Jones and his friends in Baton Rouge. And boy, was I surprised to see that they crowdfunded and got together a little bit of a gift for me. And that gift was a solid gold TexitCoin ring to replace my awesome silver one. So I got the silver one still, and now I got the gold one. It matches my cool gold watch, which is much more fashionable. Different color gold, though. Different color gold. But we're working with it. And that is the story behind my gold ring gift. Thank you for pointing that out. Ryan, did all the miners a week from September win a card? Did all miners of the week from September win a card? No. Some did. We had, I think, 27 cars. Like 20 of them were given away so far. 7 of them were like, I don't really want that. Give me something else. Okay. All right. So we're working through it. Was hoping to celebrate that as I won Miner of the Week my first week in September. Congratulations, Ryan. Remember, Miner of the Week gets $5,000. And that process is going to become a lot easier soon because we've asked the developers to add in a manual commission bonus so that if you've got it, we can add it in and it'll pay out on Wednesday along with everything else. Stacy says, I just submitted my request for tickets to Miami TexitCoin November 6th. I want to make sure I get 2 tickets. Stacy, I don't know anything about that event. I'm not going to be there. If you got tickets or found a way to get tickets, great. Enjoy. I hope it's a wonderful event, but I'm going to be in Tampa on the 8th. On CoinMarketCap's listing for TexitCoin, there is a section, TexitCoin holders. Yeah, there's a problem there because what they did, they do this themselves. But what they did was they used our WTXC data for largest holder and for number of holders. And so we got to get them to correct it. But they're in the process right now of evaluating us for a verified listing. Sorry, I missed the response. I'm sorry as well. What are the major points of what the layer 2 actually is that's been completed? Layer 2 gives you the ability to create tokens. Okay. The whole realm of crypto is mostly layer two. There are very few layer ones. There's a lot of layer twos. Shiba coin is a layer two. Somebody clicked, created a trillion or whatever Shiba coins out of thin air, pump them. Now, layer two is not about meme coins. It's not about NFTs. It's not about, goofy, stupid stuff. Layer two is everything else that you build on top of a decentralized computing network. So remember, layer one is the network. That's the trust. That's the transaction processing layer. Okay. What you build on top of that is layer two. Do you want to build an online casino? Do you want to build a video game that keeps all of its results in tokens? Do you want to build a medical record blockchain that keeps people's medical information safe? Do you want to build more secure voting system? Layer two. All of that stuff is layer two. The easiest thing for us to do was to create tokens so that at the Tampa event, and this is when it's actually going to be used, we won't use paper tickets, dropping them in an acrylic box. We'll use the layer two. We've got lots of time to learn about it and get comfortable with it before Tampa on November 8th. And so, so you'll see that rolled out either before then or by then or on then. iPhone says, I actually work for the Department of Treasury, Bureau of Engraving and Printing. People here make money while making a lot of money. I am not a salesman or good at speaking to others to join. I'm not saying you can't do it, but I'm saying that they're two different worlds. Digital money, physical money, very different. Somebody's coming from that other world. It's hard to win them over, right? Normally they respond well to the price. And when they notice the price, just say, guys, it's the plan. It's the nudge. How are we going to get the world's attention? We got to get a verified listing on CoinMarketCap, and we have to have $1 billion coin. We need to be on page one. We know how to get there. What is the benefit of having the unnamed wallet on my PC? Look, guys, the web wallet is awesome. It works spectacular. That backup file that gives you that gibberish of code, copy that, go onto your mobile device, go to wallet.texitcoin.org, restore a wallet there, put in the same password, and you'll have it on both places. Very, very easy to use, right? We'll have some video tutorials coming out soon for the web wallet. My company's in the power generation business, specializing in developing behind the meter privately. Collaborative. Look, you got to talk to the mining guys right now. We're kind of on a tentative hold as we get 1, 2, 3, and 4 installed. Once we settle down there and we show that we're actually doing the job that we promised we do, then we can start talking about creative solutions to cut down on our electric bills and take advantage of some off-grid resources and stuff like that. Those guys, I don't know who's in charge of that department right now. It's kind of all hands on deck between Kyle, Steve. We've got a new consultant, Brian, and we're keeping a close eye on it. So stay tuned for more. When an international person signs up to purchase miner hash, use my link. How will they be able to get access to their TXC wallet? They have to get a TXC wallet app. They can do it online on the web wallet, or they can download the app, but they need to bring their TXC wallet address to the subscription if their country is outside the USA, because we're not shipping coins internationally. That's been in the works for a long time, and now it's done. Eduardo says, hey, Robbie and Bobby, what is the first halving happening? I think it's probably in about 4 years. It's about every 6 years, according to the timeline we can see. So 4 years from now would be early 2029. No, early 2030. Yeah, early 2030. Also, can you guys post an article with a halving explanation schedule to help explain it? Yeah, that's a good idea. Halving article. Got it on the list. Let's see. You've raised 100 million and hired 60 persons, which is impressive. But how do you respond to someone who's asking how this model is sustainable when rewards are already being issued before mining infrastructure is operational, and the payouts appear to be funded entirely by new deposits? No, that's not true. Not from mining revenue. To someone on the outside, can look like a system that depends on continuous new capital. How do you explain that? That's really, really, really easy, guys. First of all, there's no connection between the mining seat sales and the payout of the daily reward. The payout of the daily reward will happen continuously, whether or not a new seat sells, right? That's number one. Number two, remember, when you buy a seat, there's no guaranteed income. There's no payback date. There's no maturity date. There's no lockup. There's no restriction. So every day when you get your coins, you do the math. Is today a day that you want to sell them or a day that you want to keep them? There's plenty of liquidity on the marketplace. There's enough liquidity now for every single person to sell every single one of their coins. Not all at the same time, but if number 3 on the list wants to cash out, there is now enough liquidity for them to cash out of 1 million coins or 1.5 million coins. that liquidity exists. Fortunately, we've taken the whale pledge, and those people don't want to, but it's my job to keep them on the rocket ship, right? Anybody, anytime can say, I'm selling all or part of my stash. And I think that there's enough liquidity to service that sale on the open market. But my job is to be there to back that liquidity up if for some reason we run out of the cash we have today. However, if we sold 0 seats next week, we would have 0 commission to pay out. There's no seats sold, there's no points. If there's no points, 3-3, there's no commission to pay. So they're totally different things. And because we don't make a promise or guarantee, it's not a Ponzi. If we're taking money from this week's guys to pay back last week's guys, yeah, we have a problem. But we settle commission in full every week. Now, there's an exception to that, and that's the people that don't have a USDC address on there. I think we got 139 unpaid commissions right now. But every week I put the unpaid commission on a dedicated wallet. So that if for some reason all those 139 show up and they go, we want to get paid too, that money is allocated already sitting there for them. So hopefully, anonymous person, that answers your question. Bobby, how can Judy and I get one of those wrapped vehicles? I don't know, David, but look, we want everyone to have a wrapped vehicle. Kristen is authorized to get 25 vehicles wrapped every month. There's a $100,000 budget every month for wrapped vehicles. Why? Because they work. They work very, very, very well. We just got a message from Chip. He was the Lambo recipient. And Chip said in our group just before we started the call, he said, what did he say? Trying to find it here. He said, just got my first sale, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. And there he is. He says, just sold our first seat because of the car. Thanks again, Bobby and TexitCoin team. There you go. They work, right? And so we want you to have a wrapped car. We got a budget for it. Kristen is authorized to spend $100,000 a month on additional car wraps. Get a hold of Kristen, get on the schedule, get your car wrapped. Hopefully that helps. Why do all predictions I see there is no real increase in value compared to your predictions? I'm not sure what you mean, Ken. Value and predictions are two different things. Put it into Pirate Chain. Arr. What about Old Glory? Look, we've reached out to Old Glory a couple times. We haven't gotten answers. It doesn't give us warm fuzzies. We're big, guys. There's not a lot of places. Literally, Texas Trust closed my account because they said you're too big for us. And that's a real risk for them because their job as a bank is to take my deposit and put it to work, make loans, improve things, community. If I call them up 2 weeks later and say, I need to pull that cash, they go, well, we don't have it. We thought it was a deposit. We used it. Well, that's a bad thing. Well, my FDIC insured, yeah, to 250,000. So, so we have to be careful. Money should be put into multiple banks. We had multiple banks. It also says I have 1,100 hash power. Does that mean I have 11 miners? Yes, that means you have 11 seats. Still waiting on Billboard in Ohio. Jim, sorry, 4 months ago. I'm not that guy. Jim, my suggestion is to reach out to your ranger, who's probably somebody by the name of Mitchell, and then have him make a stink for you because Mitchell's got access to money. Now I'm being told nothing is going to happen in this market. Who says nothing's going to happen? Tell Bobby is hitting support in the trading market. Yes, we are getting support in the trading market. What's with the self-reported numbers? We're waiting for that to change soon. Hopeful. Keep your fingers crossed. What would keep a successful miner with, say, a few 100,000 TexitCoin? What would keep a successful miner with, say, a few 100,000 TexitCoin and the coin goes up to a couple $100 and decides to cash out? We welcome that. Look, we don't have enough sellers. I said it 100 times. Look, there are always going to be some people that will have an impact on the price. And so what we're always keeping an eye on is the rich list, the top 100. And so, we're watching this number drop before our very eyes. This means that some of these guys are cashing out, reducing their values, and sprinkling these coins around. If somebody with 200,000 coins wants to cash out, that's $1 million sale. Well, we've got it. It would be painful, but they can only get off the rocket ship once. That's the fun thing about this. You can cash out anytime. But if you want to buy back on, it's probably going to be 40% more expensive next month. I've been saying 45 for a while. It's my bad. I thought it was 45. Maybe it's 40. And so we need people to cash out. If you want to sell a big chunk, it's great to reach out to us and have us arrange for an off market sale with a private buyer so that it doesn't hurt the market. But the liquidity is there on the market to facilitate trades. And we've already seen the market come alive. And as we get bigger and bigger and bigger, more people will notice and we'll have more interest and more activity, which creates more confidence, and it becomes a kind of a self-reinforcing cycle after that. Are we going to discuss the dip? Yes, we are, and we did. Are the drawings for the cars complete? No, we'll do 7 next week. When is CXC projected to become available on Coinbase? Maybe not ever. Guys, I don't know if they're going to be our friend. We've struggled with Coinbase accounts getting frozen. The banks are about to flip. We need better banking services. We have great decentralized solutions. Yeah, guys, look, there's a world of DeFi out there that I want us to find. I've wrote an article about DeFi. I didn't think Bitmart was available to users in the US. I thought Bobby has a Bitmart account. I do because I'm special. No, guys, look, we've got like 5 more exchanges that we've already paid for coming soon. And I can't even tell you about the thing that got done today. It's not signed yet. Maybe it is signed. It's not done, but I can't even tell you about it. I'm going to try to contain my excitement. Next level. Would it make any sense to build a sustainable home in Dallas to help with energy? Look, guys, there are a lot of people that are saying things like, well, I guess that seals the deal. I'm moving to Texas. So sell gold and buy Bitcoin. Michael, our gold has outperformed our Bitcoin. Why would we sell? Look, we're not here to day trade our liquidity. Okay, we're here to make good decisions and stick to them. Okay, if I'm sitting here all day long trying to day trade this stuff, I'm going to lose like almost everybody else that tries to chase these things. I'm not a magician. I don't have an 8 ball. Retail traders usually lose because the markets are heavily manipulated and we don't want to get caught up in that. We want to find safe places to keep our value that's going to hold its value or go up in value. That's the strategy. Epoch Times is saying that gold is being reevaluated and rising up in price bigly. Maybe I don't read that stuff. I'm going to figure out tomorrow how to buy 20K, 30K. Never bought crypto, but going to get it done. Okay. Let us know if we can help. Bryce, could you learn how he more clear and succinct? Could you learn how to he be more clear and succinct? You bleat on, and you are easily distracted when delivering your message. I don't know who Bryce is, but Bryce can lick my butt. Can I learn how to be more clear? Maybe. Did you see my messages on the car promo for October? I don't know, Scott. I'm not sure where they would have gone. Christian says, we have the top 30 list for the Game Over giveaway, but there are 34 cars. Can we please tell us who the 4 other people are? That's next week, 7 more. We are trying to generate so much hash power with new miners in case the hash power doesn't increase our daily coin yield. Yeah, guys, remember, our network is programmed to make a certain amount of coins. That number that's programmed for is about 120,000. Our network has only ever averaged about 95,000. So we're not sure if a network's doing something right or wrong. We'll look into that once we get more miners online. Gold projected over 7,500. Dollar projected to 0. Gold.tether.2. Thank you. Is it good is it a good to top blast a high gold price? No, I don't think it is. How to access the Telegram link? It should be in your welcome email. You can't get scammed doing the page from that playbook, can you? Look, I don't think so. That's the idea with real estate. It's bolted to the ground, right? It's in my name, which means you need a court order to take it out of my name. Now, it's not impossible. Plenty of those things have happened. That's why it's so important for me to keep my hands super clean, right? But we keep it all in my name and we totally avoid that money laundering thing, right? Well, what did you do with the money? Well, I hid it in 19 different places and then I didn't tell anybody. It's in my name, guys. If you guys like me, you guys trust me, it's the situation that's going to work the best for us. I currently have 1 coin. What do you recommend for a beginner to have the most success? Share the story. Yeah, real estate investment trust, good kind of thing. But we can do that ourselves. Share our story. Look, my dad. We've talked about him before. Let's not talk about him again because he's probably listening in. But there are lots of people out there that can't sell, and not everyone has to sell for this thing to be successful. Some people do. But if you're just getting started, try to invite somebody out to the Thursday night call, and then we want to see you earning additional hash power. We don't want to see you buying it. We want to see you earning it. Is Texas pivoting to become a crypto hedge fund? No. Tether are based outside of USA, hence why I think they cop a lot of heat, but they also are one of the biggest holders of treasuries. Somebody's on the board, so I think they're working with it now. Yeah, look, they've got a diverse strategy as well. And their strategy seems to have worked. People in the EU are trying to block Tether because they won't give up the goodies on what they got. We may get to that point as well, but right now we're still early. I still need you guys to like the things that we're doing. I'm not saying someday I'm going to like flip and become some like evil overlord, but I'm saying that, when you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars, we may have to use more privacy. Um, there wasn't ever a Satoshi Nakamoto for the US government to crack down on. And if the US government knew who Satoshi was, would they have put a stop to it early on? And we got to wrestle with that kind of question as this thing continues to win. Either they're going to be cheering for us or they're going to be trying to stop us. There's not really much of an area in the middle, guys. So we got to stay vigilant. Would this nudge take effect prior to Wednesday's market opening? Do you expect the whales to play, causing a premature market flux? Guys, you know what the plan is. You know what the timeline is. Now that we've approved my strategy for tranche number 5, it could happen at any moment. It won't happen unless and until I coordinate it with our market makers. Remember, we got a professional market making service that do their best to kind of like mirror what's happening on DexTrade. DexTrade's our free market. DexTrade is there's no market maker there. It's buyers and sellers. It was their original market. We've got a big buy order there at 379, and then we try to replicate what's happening on DexTrade, on Bitmart, on MEXC, on Biconomy, on the 19 other exchanges that are coming soon. There's a lot of them. And so I can't tell you exactly when that's going to happen, but I can tell you now that we've approved the strategy, it's ready to go. Look, I don't know why anybody's not buying up all the TexitCoin right now. If you think that we're going to continue to be successful, then we're going to 16 and beyond. The fact that we're still flirting with $4 at my plan means that people aren't really taking us seriously yet. But I think that's beginning to change. Doesn't Tether have to hold U.S. bonds? No, they have a very diverse capital strategy. Can we use stablecoins to expand funds? We do right now. How about a position in silver? We have a lot of silver right now, but it's not official. Rand Paul real estate market is going to burst again. Not a good steward of money. Um, yeah. So look, we have to watch these things. Historically, we can learn from lessons from 2008. But that's the question. You know, if we store it all in dollars under the mattress, we've got one type of risk. If we store it all in commercial real estate, we've got another type. We got risk all over the place. I've got to take all the information that I've got, make the best decisions for us. I would like to be a part of this. I have 20 plus years experience in the mortgage and lending and real estate and commercial as well. Thanks, John. Maybe we have, an advisory board that's helping with managing some liquidity and trading stuff. Not a question, but a statement. When you want to be smart, do what smart, successful people do. They already encountered and worked through issues. That being said, do it. Please build the mines. That should be a number one priority. How much is tranche number 5? It's 5 million. Nearly 40 years as a real estate, you will have a solid asset that God does not make any more of. Sounds very promising. Buy properties in Mission and McAllen. Yeah. Is it the 5 million difference between October and November? No, we need more by the end of November. Or no, are we talking about the November money right now? Let's take a look. The amount that we need by the end of November is 10 million. We're already at 5. We're adding another 5, so we will be at 529 ahead of schedule. Hope you like it. Bank of Bobby next. Thanks, Coach Bud. Why not put it into the Tether Gold? Counterparty risk, guys. We got to diversify. We're putting some of it in different places. I have a house I would like to buy. You need a Schwab account, possibly. Already closed. I have a line of credit experience. So do we. Tokenized. Dividend paying blue chip electric company mutual funds. Good idea. Well, let's consider that for the next tranche. Have you factored in all the costs associated with real estate? Of course we have. Bad idea. Housing market's going to crash. Properties can always be borrowed against as a HELOC that can be used. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Liquidity. I'm going to keep going through these guys. If I don't see questions, 5 million is into real estate right now. Guys, there's a lot of questions here. Rob, there's no way I'm going to be able to even click on all this stuff.
They're growing right now. It's 461, and I've killed out 326. So the community is asking questions tonight.
Well, there's a lot of comments as well. Not a lot of questions, but tons of comments. And so I'm just going to quickly breeze through them and see
Yeah,
if I
I'll
can
work on clearing out statements.
find anything. We're gonna set 8 p.m. as our limit, and so I'll see if I can find stuff in here. Um, we obviously, guys, with real estate, we've got a whole new bowl of wax to worry about. And so rest assured that it's not just a best guess, it's a strategy. Yeah, look, as soon as you say structure, why don't you structure it in a trust? That's when you're talking about getting creative for, liability protection and for, avoidance, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we'll continue to purchase gold. Um, Now is the time to be buying XRP. Guys, remember, I got a real philosophical and, moral problem with XRP. Why not just buy Tether? Because Tether can be turned off remotely. Thanks for the trust, Lee. Bobby, the way the world is today, from Anonymous, I trust you with all of this together. I truly believe we will all change the world. When is it planned to do the next nudge? Could happen anytime. Guys, again, I'm just going through here real quick. If you've got like a real deal for real question, maybe you want to retype it. Um, be careful, don't get sued. Yeah, guys, that's why I got to keep my hands clean. Um, All-time highs for all this stuff. We have to be careful. We're looking for really great deals. Verified on CMC is coming our way. Hopefully, we go to $13. Who pays the taxes on these properties? I do. If we didn't trust the vision, we would ask for a refund. Let's do this. Oh, you already did it? Let's celebrate. Yeah, it's already done. But again, I can't put it into our liquidity pool unless I get you guys to agree with the strategy. You're not always going to agree with everything, and I know that there are 7% of you that think that it's not the right move. Um, so can't make everybody happy, but we're going to continue to make the best decisions we can with the information we have. Personally, stick with it. More markets, more trading. Mention paid off the properties. Did the company make the payment, or did Bobby? Bobby made the payment. There is no company. How about reinvesting the capital firm? And it'll do the investment. I want to text it out. Yeah, I got this from my man Josh. Blah blah blah. LinkedIn. So wow, I'm trying to scroll, and the scrolling is just not getting me anywhere. Just take us to 529 today. Let's go. Remember, guys, receipts forthcoming. 1,400 people still tuned in to me scrolling through these things. Trustify, what point of sale, how far next nudge, winners the cards next week. Sorry, guys, I'm scrolling through. I'm sure that I'm probably missing some things. Can you post the daily price of TXE at the time of payout so we can use income tax record purposes? Um, well, maybe we can store that somewhere and give you an API to access it. Swappy. What's up, Swappy? Who is Nudge? That's Switzerland. Can't wait to visit Mansfield. Yeah, Mansfield's live now, guys. Another place to check out. How do I get the recording? Recording's coming soon. So grateful for the email invite. Keep phase two close to your vest. Not divulge any details, but lots of people in their group are wondering, guys, phase two is what it's all about. Bronco wrap TexitCoin, 7-card giveaway. These are leases, as we did. If you want the cash instead, then we'll do that, and that way you can have some cash and get your car wrapped. Love the honesty. Independently verified CMC, no update yet, but it is in. I mean, it's being done right now. I'm in communication with CoinMarketCap. Any plans to address some of the negative? No, not really. Can we use PayPal? No. How long does it take to get our coin in the mail? 2-3 weeks is about the turnaround time. You should do merch. I think other people are. Love today's Zoom. It's the first one. Love your heart. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate the kind words. How do we buy a cap? Davy Jones and Larry Wood. 1,000 bonus for sponsoring 9. Yes. Bobby is in Tampa on the 8th. Yes. How do we find info about Tampa? I'll have an Eventbrite up for you tomorrow. Layer 2 of the ability to loop. I don't know what that means. Texas will be open source. Got a network of 30 hyperlocal Texas magazines interested. Good. Let's get it to Kristen. How can me and my people look? Everyone's going to get a big email in a day or two about the event in Tampa on the 8th. We've got room for 1,200. So be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a professional race car driver there to do hot laps as well. Pretty cool realtors licensed in 3 states. Just saying. Is it your wife? Is it Laurel by chance? Previous question, Craig, when the forecast for the coin value and then February 2027. I don't have that off the top of my head right now. Let's stay focused on where we are today, which is tranche number 5 and 529. Web wallet secure. Yes, I'm very happy with the web wallet. Tampa tickets coming soon. You're doing great. Thank you. You want a hat? Do we pay taxes? No, you're leasing them. Can we get personal vehicle wrap? Sure. Talk to Kristen. What color vehicle looks best? We wrap them all the way. I mean, white's kind of default go to. Um, how do you hold it? Kristen, Kristen at blockchainmint.com. Can I wrap my Nissan Rogue? I don't know. Why did Mulligan Mint file for bankruptcy? Check the court records. Even though I'm in AZ, I can do a car wrap. Of course you can. I'd love to have my car wrapped. Kristen's gone for the next 10 days or so. That's true. And you will just have to be patient and she will get to you when she gets back. Look into sweep accounts that help with FDIC above 250. Wrap big truck. Sure. We just got an F450 wrap. Just saw a TXC billboard in Rockledge, Florida, 20 minutes from my house. Good job. We're going to get them in Ohio someday. Bitcoin Ben in Florida is opening a Bitcoin bank in El Salvador. We actually have some people going to El Salvador in a week or two. More to come. Sponsored Mitchell. Jay is my ranger. That's right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, you sponsored Mitchell. So Mitchell's below you. Kristen's ad agency person. Michelle told me she was going to happen there. I don't know. Just talk to Mitchell. He'll get it done. How are you deciding last 7 cars? We will do it together next week. Sorry we didn't get to it today. Coinbase, maybe not for a while, but who knows? Maybe there's some bigger information out there that's coming soon. Trustify, it's not our thing. DIF for liquidity. Tangem, along with the platforms listed soon, maybe. Where do we find out who our ranger is? Guys, that information is coming soon. We like you, Bobby. Thanks, Kenny. How do you pass cash flow onto miners, onto coin holders? I'm not sure what that means. How productive was the huge trip to Asia? Asia was great. You know, Asia was our first time to really give the crypto industry a heads up, and we saw a huge pop in the market. Are they related? I think so. Is the real estate in your wife's name too? Why, yes, it is. Robert and Kira Gray. It's Texas. Was watching Carl. Was a lady on there who did something amazing with a crypto bank, a large bank, not Old Glory. I recorded it, so well, let us know who it is. Timeline still good for tranche 5. Yes. 529 is the number. How do we buy TexitCoin in the back office? Go into TXC purchase, I think it is. Hi, Bob Gray. I have a pet pig named Arnold. Long story short, put a sticker on her. I'm not sure what we're talking about there. What do token holders see returns from assets in your name? I don't think that that is how it works. We don't have the liquidity. Like we don't really have. There are some things that are going to need to be clarified in time about ownership, and we're holding off on that for right now. Not for any particular reason other than we've got a particular reason. That doesn't sound good. So yeah, so look, you got things like the mine, you know, there's millions of dollars of mining equipment, there's millions of dollars of property, there's millions of dollars of liquidity, there's millions of dollars of promotion marketing budget. All that stuff right now is held by me. What happens to it in the future once this project matures and we no longer need liquidity? You know, we don't know about all that stuff just yet, but we know that we have got to do the right thing or else we're going to be in trouble. What is the right thing? It will present it to us in time. Are there going to be specials? No, we're doing like anti-specials. Tangem, quiet down. How does the card drawing work? Tune in next week. Why not buy a foreign country? It's not a bad idea. Or at least an island. That didn't go over well for the other guys, though, did it? There are concerns with commercial properties values. Look, there's concerns with value everywhere. Timeline still good for tranche 5? Yes. When will we know something about phase 2? Soon. Once all the seats, where does that put Rangers? I don't know. What do you know about SPX 6900? I don't even know what that is. Can a feature be added to commission wallet to add a hot TXC wallet so that we can send our TXC commissions to? Currently, the only option is a USDC wallet. No, you can add a second TXC wallet, but yeah, I don't know if there's the ability to say commissions. That's actually a good idea. You know, pay my commissions here and put my mining payout there. We'll make a note. Do you need another guy to set up equipment? Right now, we're doing really good with equipment. Do you have to be in the USA to win a car? No. Thanks for the great job. So you change your order. Yeah, we have some more work to do to get the market there, but that's coming soon. Retype due to Bobby asking. I know you want to keep phase 2 close to your vest. Not divulge details. No, that's not true. We're sharing everything. But lots of people in our group are wondering, will the original miners who together collectively own the 1 million mining units get any kind of residual income from everything that happens in phase two and beyond? No. A couple of different things about that. First of all, the miners, the reward that the miners get is TexitCoin. That's what the mining reward is. Now, what about the transaction fees that are generated by the people that use the layer two? Does that go to the miners? Maybe. Again, that's one of those things we're not really sure about yet. Um, what we don't know is once all those seats are filled, what our cash flow is going to look like through transaction fees, and whether or not that'll be enough to pay for the electricity costs once the seats are filled. Whether or not our Doge and Litecoin mining is going to be enough to pay for the electricity once the seats are filled. If it is and we've got an excess, well, maybe we use that for parties, or maybe we use it for additional promotion, or maybe we pay a dividend back to the miners of the excess. I don't know yet. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I don't know. But you got to remember that we're building the mine. So anybody in the world can come along and build a layer two. That's all phase two ish type stuff. So we don't control that stuff. The one thing that we're doing, that I'm doing, is downtown digital dollars. And that does not involve miners. In fact, I'm doing everything I can to keep them completely separated. Do, 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 do. And there's an important reason for that. We don't want mayors and city councils and economic development and chambers of commerce to think of downtown digital dollars like a network marketing company. Not that there's anything wrong with network marketing companies, except a lot of people have some beef with network marketing companies. So we're trying to keep those two things separate. So they're going to be separate. Now, how can you participate in downtown digital dollars? I don't know yet. Again, more stuff that's coming as these things flesh themselves out. Yes, I believe the web wallet is secure. Maybe open the chat so comments go there. Yeah. Is the chat not open? I guess we need to use webinar chat next time and use questions for questions. What do you think about DAI versus USDT? Look, I don't know too much about DAI. In fact, I don't even know what it stands for. But there are definitely going to be some, on-chain DeFi things that we'll have to look at as we evaluate future tranches. Bobby, the schedule for the Gulfstream Park shows you speaking. I'm not going to be there. Weather in Tampa. Where in Tampa will you be? It's called Enclave, and it's awesome. What happened to TXC when it went from 7 then down to 384? Look, it didn't go down. It went up. Okay, we're stair stepping. We've got a strategy. We've got numbers. We've got goals and targets and prices. We don't control the high side. Okay, so if the price takes off and goes up and it slowly trickles back down to where we want it to be, that's not the market going down. It's the market going up prematurely. Cup half full, half empty, call it what you like. But the point is that we didn't take it to 7. And so we can't answer for why it went there and why it's now just slowly going back down to 379. Clinton, when will TXC be able to trade on Coinbase or Robinhood? I don't know, guys. Which exchange platform do you recommend? There's a new one coming soon that we're a day or two away from that links in with USA Banks. It is called pionex.us, pionex.us. We've talked about it here before. We're a couple days away from going live. Bobby, can you post the daily? Okay. Diversify. Yes. How can me and my people attend Tampa? Eventbrite coming soon. Yeah, investing in an organic farm could be a good idea, but maybe further down the road because that will be even less liquid than the things we have now. 16, does the liquidity pool support to get pulled free market? Yeah, again, guys, we don't know. We're guessing at some of these things. We've got a plan for a lot of them, but we have to see what happens as our project continues to mature. Not enough hash power to get a node. We are retired. Would love to host a computer. Any exemptions? No exemptions. You got to be in Texas. But remember that you can earn more hash power. So you got to help share our story. That's the way the system's built. The people that will hold the biggest chunks of mining power are the ones that do the most to help us build and grow. So you're saying that the miners, after buying the coin, then we should see our coins per day go up when you build this next mining site. No, we're talking about 95,000 coins a day more reliably when the mining site's built out. Just so you know, 500 million is when they get notified and start doing audits. Yeah, I don't know. Coin price is back to increase. My question is, what will be used with the TexitCoin? That is the question I have been receiving every time. We sell it, guys. People take TexitCoin as their commission. People buy TexitCoin in the back office. People are selling TexitCoin on preloaded cold storage wallets at events, fairs, festivals. So people are turning it over. That's what you want out of a currency, just the turnover, buying and selling, buying and selling. Uh, do, 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 do. What exemption? Blah blah blah. Can we get more? It's blah blah. How the F1 went down? Did we just have the event, or was there any type of sponsorship? No, we had a party next door to the F1. We took the winners of the cars over to the F1. They got some tickets. Best site to buy coins now is probably still Dextrade. Tested X-ray cost me 25 to sell 75 in TXC. I'm not sure if you did something wrong, but that sounds off. When does TXC for commission get paid out? Usually it's done Monday. I didn't do it because Monday was a rough day. Tuesday, I was all over the place shutting down bank accounts. It'll get paid out tomorrow. Which exchange platform do you recommend? We talked about that. 16, what color vehicles? White. Coordinates for the miners being posted. Um, how do we win the card tune in next week? We'll give away 7. You have to have 1, 2 freeze from the qualifying period, which is week 72 to week 78. How do I get a response from Gager Tim? I have network of 30 hyperlocal. Kristen's your girl for the advertising stuff. It's better to buy coin through Miami to meet Eric Trump on November 6th. I don't know anything about the Miami event, guys. I'm not. I can't answer any questions about that. I don't know anything about it. We wouldn't buy TexitCoin outside of our plan. 7:56. We got 4 minutes left. Free miner, Texas license plate. That's right. Is it better to own 5 legs or buy a leg for my wife? I think you need to talk to your wife and your sponsor about that. For next investment trial, you may consider. Yes, 200,000 liquidity on chain. That's because you're looking at the WTXC. That's the wrong thing. Can you explain what the mines are mining exactly? That's a conversation for another day. Meetings in Utah. Ask Josh or our friend Abe. Billboards and signage coming to Colorado. We should already have billboards and signs in Colorado. Say hi to Dr. Jack Cruz in El Salvador. Don't know who that is, but that sounds good. Also, get in touch with Kristen for a wrap. Approved billboards from Milwaukee. It's not me, it's Kristen. Real estate returns get passed on. We don't know about returns yet, guys. All we're looking for right now is a place to keep the money safe. Spanish speaking videos, yes. Check in with Ricardo. How do we add USDT for commissions? It's an interesting question. Don't buy an island. Yeah, no kidding. Buy the 6666 ranch. I'm sure we can't afford that. Late to the show. Las Vegas airport. That's a good idea. We're not there yet. Love the dividend. Burp. Do we have a DEI? No. The license plate 100 hash states we live in Canada. I don't know. Does Canada have license plate? Is chat disabled? Why is chat disabled? I will have to find a way to enable the chat. Sorry, guys. Will you change the name of Texas when you go global? No. What was the first finance part of the meeting about? Sorry, you have to watch the recording. What bank do you recommend? None. 1, 2 free. What's that? You need to read the comp plan. Enabled. Enabled. It's enabled now. What week are we in? We're in week 82. Thank you, Bobby. Keep the transparency coming. International miners will no longer receive coins. Who said that? What is the $3,000 cash potential? That's how much cash you have the ability to take out based on your sponsorship. So you do your 3 left, 3 right. You'll have a $6,000 in. You get a $1,000 commission. Thank you for changing your Telegram name. Yeah, full awful. Can there be a dividend with no company? There is not a dividend. TXC at SEMA in Vegas for 2 weeks. I don't know what that is. Last 2 questions at 7:59. Yes, Bobby. LOL. We have license plates. Who do you talk to? Talk to Kristen. Just get it done. Take a picture, and we'll add the hash. Dr. Cruz, mind blowing answer to who is Satoshi Nakamoto? YouTube. Guys, that's it. I didn't get through all the questions. I'm sure there are lots that I missed. I apologize for that. But I will make sure that the chat is enabled next week so you guys can have the chatter on the one side and ask the mind-bending questions that only I can answer in the chat. Guys, look, I feel like I got a lot off my chest tonight. I feel very happy. I'm glad that that 93% of you are okay with us continuing to use our good judgment. Like I said, guys, I didn't just pull it out of a hat. This stuff is researched. We are extremely concerned about keeping our hands clean, being upfront and honest with you guys. That's how we avoid fraud. A lot of questions in the chat about SEC and government and are we scared? No, we're doing the right thing. It's like Ron Paul said, we have a moral obligation to share the message of freedom and liberty and honest money with everyone on planet Earth. This is our version of that. I believe I will testify in court probably someday about how cryptocurrency, TexitCoin is the most honest money planet Earth has ever seen. Not just because about the crypto aspect, but because of the way that we're dealing with it. Some people don't like the fact that we have got this affiliate thing that smells like network marketing. So be it. Some people think that everything that is crypto related is a scam. So be it. We have a job to do and we're going to do it. We're going to build out a community currency that's built on the TXC blockchain. That's our job. That's our mission. That's our goal. That's our work. We're going to get compensated for it. And if we're successful and if I'm right, we're going to get rich. If you're uncomfortable with that, if you're uncomfortable with taking that chance, sit back, put on your sleep eye mask, making money while I sleep. Let the other guys do the work. If you'd like to help us build and grow, earn some more hash power along the way and some cash if you want, then let's do it. But we're doing the right thing. Planet Earth needs what we have. You guys just look at the value of the dollar. Look at the gap between, low and high income. Look at all those things and ask yourself if you think that there's something wrong with the money. If you think that there's something wrong with the money, then do your research and figure out who's doing something about it. You know who was doing something about it back in 2008? Bernard Van Nathis of the Liberty Dollar, Rob Gray of the American Open Currency Standard, and Satoshi Nakamoto of Bitcoin. Bernard's gone. Satoshi never existed. It's just us now. We've got a job to do. We're going to do it. And we're doing spectacularly. We're having a blast. We're changing lives. We're making money. We're building a mine. We're having a lot of fun. I'm having the time of my life, guys. To see the thing that I dreamt become this big, $100+ million. Awesome. What it looks like in 3 months or 3 years or 30 years, I do not know. But I'm going to work hard on it every day because I made a promise to you guys. You put your trust and your faith in me, and I'm going to follow through. I got to do it because I don't want to go to jail. I also want to do it because I'm doing really great. It's the best of both worlds. Doing the right thing, not because it's easy, not because it keeps me out of jail, but because there's some really great upsides that come along with doing the right thing. But remember, our futures are tied together. If I win and you lose, I'm going to be in trouble. If we win together, we've got something great. That's what honest money gives us. Crypto, the financial technology, gives us the tools to make it possible. That's what's at stake. We're doing it. We're succeeding every day right now. Be a part of it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bobby Gray. I'm the founder of this thing. I'm the guy who's got the weight of the world on his shoulder to make sure that I follow through on my promises to you. I take that seriously, and I'm going to keep working hard on it. And I will tune in with you guys again on Tuesday for the next update and some receipts and 7 card giveaways. Have a great night, and thanks so much for joining, everyone.